Have you ever fantasized about quitting the 9 to 5 to just write? Of course you have. It's the dream, right? But for so many of us, it feels like it's just that, a dream. Well, today, we're going to try and change that. We're diving into the work of Joanna Penn, an author-entrepreneur who's basically laid out a blueprint for turning that passion for writing into an actual, sustainable career.
Okay, but first, let's get real for a second. A recent survey in the UK found something pretty shocking. The median income for a professional author, just £10,500. I mean, that's not just low, that's actually below the minimum wage. So what did Joanna Penn have to say about this? Her reaction was perfect. That's not what I call a living. And you know what? She's absolutely right. A number like that just confirms all the worst fears that aspiring writers have. But, and this is a big but, here's the good news. The problem isn't your writing. It's the business model that's broken. All right, so here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll tackle the writer's big dilemma. Then, we'll get into the entrepreneurial mindset that's a total game changer. After that, we'll see how your book is a business, look at making money beyond the book, and finally, we'll talk about how you can define success on your own terms.
Right, so first up, the writer's dilemma. I think every writer knows this feeling, right? How do you stay true to your creative passion, but also, pay your bills? That's the core struggle we've got to figure out.
And that brings us to our guide, Joanna Penn. She's not just some author who got lucky. She calls herself a former cubicle slave. She actually spent 13 years working in IT consulting before she finally made the jump to a 6-figure career as a writer. The point is, she's been there, she's done it, and she's basically left a map for the rest of us. So how'd she do it? What was the secret sauce? Well, you might think the first step was finding a great agent or landing a big publisher, but no. It was something much more fundamental. It was a complete shift in mindset. And that's really the heart of what we're talking about today, becoming an author-entrepreneur. Now, when you hear the word entrepreneur, you're probably thinking about tech startups in Silicon Valley, right? But let's redefine it. At its core, an entrepreneur is just someone who creates value from ideas. And if you think about it that way, well, who does that better than writers? We literally spin ideas out of thin air and turn them into books that can entertain, educate, and even change people's lives. We're the original entrepreneurs. And this slide just lays it all out perfectly. Look at the left side. That's the old model, the classic job. You trade your hours for a paycheck. The minute you stop working, the money stops coming in. Simple as that. But now look at the right. This is the author-entrepreneur model. You create something once, your book, and that one thing, that asset, can keep selling for years and years. It makes money while you sleep. That, right there, is the power of a scalable asset. So what does this actually look like in practice? Here's a peek at Joanna Penn's own income, and what you'll notice right away is that it's not all about hitting some massive bestseller list. In fact, book sales are only about half of her income. The other half? That's affiliate income, course sales, speaking gigs, a whole bunch of different things, all built on the foundation of her writing. Okay, so let's zoom in on the book itself. We have to start thinking about it differently. It's not just a story you wrote. It's not just a manuscript. It's the cornerstone of your entire business. Just look at this. This shows you the real power locked inside that one manuscript. You don't just have one book. You've got an ebook, you've got a print book, you've got an audiobook, and each of those formats can be sold in pretty much every country on Earth and translated into who knows how many languages. Suddenly, that one thing you created can splinter into dozens of different products, each one a potential stream of income.
So how do you get it out there? Well, you've basically got two main paths: traditional publishing or going indie. With traditional, you get the prestige, a team to help you, maybe an advance, and they get you into bookstores. The downside? It's slow, you lose a lot of creative control, and the royalty rates are not great. On the other hand, as an indie author, you're the boss. You have total control, you can publish way faster, and you keep a much bigger chunk of the money. The catch? You have to do it all yourself, and you've got to front the costs.
Look, making a living just from your books is definitely possible. But if you want to build a business that can really weather any storm, you've got to think beyond the book. You need to build an online business around your writing.
And the engine that powers this whole operation? It's something called content marketing. The idea is actually really simple. You use your writing skills to create awesome free stuff, like blog posts, podcasts, articles, whatever, that your ideal reader will love. When you give them that value for free, they start to know, like, and trust you.
And that trust is what eventually leads to them buying your books and other products. Because once you've built that audience that trusts you, oh man, the possibilities just open up. You can create and sell your own digital products, things like online courses or maybe some helpful guides. You can earn affiliate income just by recommending the tools and services you already use and love. You could even get paid for your expertise by doing speaking gigs or coaching.
All right, we've talked about the mindset, we've talked about the business model. Now it's time to bring it all back home. We need to make this personal and talk about what success actually looks like for you.
And this might be the most important question of all. What does making a living really mean to you? Is it paying the rent? Is it buying a house? What's the number? What kind of lifestyle are you actually shooting for? Because if you don't have a clear target, you've got no chance of hitting it. And part of that is figuring out what kind of success you're after. You've got literary success on one side. We're talking critical acclaim, big literary prizes, getting the nod from the gatekeepers. Then, on the other side, you've got commercial success, selling tons of books, achieving financial freedom, and connecting directly with a huge audience of readers. Now, neither one is better than the other, but you really do have to be honest with yourself about which one you're aiming for.
And this really gets to the heart of this whole author-entrepreneur idea. For so long, the power was held by the gatekeepers. You know, the agents, the big publishing houses. But that's just not the world we live in anymore. They don't hold all the cards. You don't need to ask for their permission to have a career.
Seriously, the power has shifted. You are not at the mercy of some slush pile anymore, just waiting to be picked. The tools are out there. The roadmap is clear. You can actually build the exact career you've always wanted, and you can do it on your terms. So the only question left is, are you going to stop waiting to be chosen and choose yourself?